Okay, so we're back again. I'm joined by manager Paul Jones ahead of the first pre-season session. Paul, first of all, how's your break been and what have you been up to?
Yeah, good to see you. You okay?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, it took a little while for all the adrenaline and stress to leave the system. End of close season never really feels like it's long enough when you're in a football club because you don't really get any time off. So yeah, just try to spend time with the family. Pay them back for all the support they provided me this year, and yeah, just generally ate a bit better, did a little bit of exercise, and tried to enjoy life away from football, which I think I managed to do. But it's always good to be back in with the players and the staff, and yeah, we're going to wind up gently and look forward to going in. I think it's only 6 weeks, isn't it? So
end of July, isn't it? Yeah. So come around very fast. Obviously it's the first day back now, so how good is it just to have the group of the players back together as well and just see everyone again?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like we're doing this interview as they're arriving, so I'm kind of missing saying hello to some of them, but yeah, it's great to see them. We've laid off them over the last kind of 7 weeks. We've not really made much contact other than making sure they knew what the plans were, and hopefully ensured they had a really good mental break as much as a physical break. I think everyone could see it, the last 3 months of the season, everyone was just kind of done in really, and we needed to make sure people were fresh mentally and physically before we went again this season. So yeah, it's great to see them. Hopefully there's a good environment, they're already loud and chirpy, so yeah, fingers crossed.
Some things never change, do they? Never change.
We go for a good session and it feeds into the rest of the pre-season.
So talking of the sessions, what's the main focus really of these early sessions? Is it mainly fitness work or do you throw ball work in straight away?
Yeah, we'll be working with the ball from day one. We don't have a lot of time with them at all. And because of availability, holidays, the Ireland Games, there's lots of reasons that we're not probably going to have everybody at every training session, and even everybody for more than kind of 3 or 4 training sessions. So we've got to work hard on our in and out of possession stuff, but there has to be some hard work in there as well. The first 3 sessions really are just about getting everybody together, assessing how some of them are who have ended the season with knocks or picked things up over the off season, and making sure we don't break them, and then we can gradually work harder over the next kind of 2 or 3 weeks in the lead up to Brackley coming over and the festival as well. So yeah, hard work but sensible, so as we have a full squad at the start of the season and they don't break halfway through the season. So yeah, it's a tricky one to get right, but we've learned a lot of lessons over the last couple of seasons, so hopefully we can do better than we did last year.
And obviously talking with the end of last season, we lost a few players, so over the summer have you made any changes to the squad ahead of the season?
We've invited a lot of people, or invited a lot of people in. Not everybody's said yes, not everyone's replied even, which is yeah, frustrating and lacking a little bit of just politeness really more than anything else. So yeah, we've invited in. Everyone's in on the basis that they've got to earn the right to wear the shirt again. There's no promises been made. It's a group that we know well, and there will be some new faces in there. We're not really going to be able to see anyone from the Ireland Games until after the Ireland Games. That's just how it is. So we'll make the best of that situation, and hopefully those that do get an opportunity to come in, and I include the players that have maybe even played 5 to 4 seasons for the club, they can really kind of rinse it for everything it's worth, and we can start the season strong and go somewhere close to meeting our ambitions for this season.
And obviously talking to trialists, people you're having a look at during this time, you're also going to be changing the way you'll be scouting players this season and looking at players within the local game to bring them into the squad. Yeah. Can you just give us a bit more information on that and how that's going to work going forward?
Yeah, look, when we set the club up 5 years ago, we knew we weren't going to get everything right straight away, and we're certainly never going to get everything right. So every year we're trying to do things a little bit better, and taking on board some feedback from the local game, making sure that the entry route into the team is as flexible as it can be over a season. We've got a really good grasp of who the players are that we think have potential to play for this football club, but we don't know everything. So rather than doing the open training sessions this year, we've invited a group in that we want to work with to start with in pre-season, and then we're basically going to open out a nomination or expression of interest to any player or manager or coach who would like us to take a look at them through pre-season and any time during the season really. And we've also got Albo, who was doing the assistant manager role last year, who's going to take a bit of a back step, but him and Julian Convig are going to lead on communicating with the local managers and coaches and making sure that we have a much more two-way kind of correspondence with them as much as we possibly can, to ensure that the most appropriate players possible get the opportunity to show what they can do at the highest level possible. And like I say, we don't know everything, but this club will only be as good as it can be, and football on the Isle of Man will only be as good as it can be if we all work together and work together closely for the best interests of everyone and the players first and foremost. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. You've got to try things and do things a little bit differently from time to time. So hopefully we can pick some players up that way, and it gives an opportunity for people who are telling everybody else that they should be involved, that they can put their hand up and we can, take their interest seriously.
And following this interview, we'll get that form out and the post out about that, so for anyone wanting any interest, we can get that out there. Obviously, you've just mentioned Albo's taken a bit of a backseat from the assistant manager role. Have you made any other changes to your coaching team or your backroom staff during the summer?
A lot of it is we've really reflected on how we work together as much as who's working to get in that group, and there's some kind of changes in that dynamic more than anything else. So Gaz is going to step up to do the assistant manager. Like, he's been incredible the last kind of 2.5 seasons, with the commitment he's given and the work he's put into with me and with the players. So Gaz will, his official title, be assistant manager, and how he and I work together will change slightly to reflect that, but also to give the players different voices and different tones of voice at times as well. Sam Kane's continuing with the coaching, Duran's continuing helping us with the coaching, but primarily emphasising the kind of the off the pitch stuff that's really important to get everything ticking. We've obviously, Craig's gone, so there's other things that Craig was doing that are integral to the functioning of the player group, which Duran will take on, as well as the coaching and the coach education bit that he's been in charge of. Ches is still around, and which is great, but we've also invited Blair in to help out with Ches when he can't work, but also for Blair to push on and hold the keepers that we've had in previously accountable. And then Albo and Duran Kinvega looking at our young players and bringing recruitment, in effect scouting, and Colin Thomas, who did some great work, some opposition analysis for us last year. He's based in England, but not everyone, but a lot of people will know Colin from the Isle of Man, and his dad Mark is a referee, so there's a really strong link there. And we're also hoping young Ben Strada will do some video analysis work for us as well. So we're refining what we're doing, we're getting better at what we're doing, and holding each other more accountable to what we're doing, and hopefully that'll really benefit the players in the weeks and months ahead.
So now, obviously, just looking ahead to what's going to be undoubtedly another long season. We've had it confirmed there's going to be 46 league games again. What are your aims for this season, and what have you taken away from last season to ensure that you'll get there and make that next step?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, we have our aims, but like there's 20 odd other teams that are all trying to do the same, if not more than us, with a very different constraints than ourselves. So it's always tough. Like, yes, I did make some bold proclamations when we started the club, and that was basically us, what we were capable of with a fair wind, if everyone got together, if we had the best players on the Isle of Man playing every week, and that was never realistically going to be the case. But we've got more than enough to play in a division or two at least higher, whether we do that or not. And when we do that, it's not all in our control. So we know we need to finish the season stronger, clearly. We put an awful lot into pre-season and the early season last year through to Christmas, and it showed because we couldn't sustain that, and there was lots of, as I said, tired minds and bodies. But we were a missed chance away and a mistake, not making mistakes away from having a really good season last year. And unfortunately, as the results kind of didn't quite go our way, then confidence levels and energy levels and everything else dropped. So first half of last season is our starting point. Like, that's where we need to improve from. End of last season is a lesson, and move on very quickly from, and not overanalyze it too much, because there's lots of kind of reasons why that happened over and above the players not being good enough. That isn't the case. They're more than good enough. So we're looking to be right at the top end of the table, but whether that happens or not is, as I say, not always within our control. And we need everything not everything to go right, but lots of things to go right along the way, including the support of everyone in the club and support of the supporters, and sticking together and making sure that we through the ebbs and flows of the season, the roller coaster journey, we don't get too low when things aren't quite going our way, and we don't get too high and carried away with ourselves when things are going well. So yeah, it's always an evolution, isn't it, rather than a revolution. So we know where we need to improve, and this pre-season is about starting that off, and then over the season we've got to get better week to week to week to week all the way through to the end, rather than kind of like peaking in December and then struggling. So that's what we're trying to do. Whether we do it or not, I don't know. All we can promise the supporters is we're going to give it a right flipping good effort. We're always going to do our best. We're always going to make sure we wear the shirt with pride and act with humility and grateful for the opportunities that they're providing us by putting money into the club, and the sponsors are providing us, and where the chips fall at the end of the season, that's where it is. But we're certainly aiming to be right up at the top end of the table, pushing for promotion. But as I say, so is pretty much everybody else in the league.
And finally, just obviously you mentioned the supporters here. Have you got a final message for them just ahead of the season?
Yeah, like, we need you, like the club needs you. The club does amazing things off the pitch. We're winning, having the club in existence, the money it brings into the island, the money we pay into tax far outstrips any grants that we may get from the government. The social fabric that it's created in terms of the supporters and the interactions they have with other clubs. Like, there's lots of winning going on off the pitch, but I think if we can all stick together through good and bad, if we can get behind the lads and get behind the club and maybe say positive things as much as possible around our community, so that grows as well, then we've got a right chance of doing something really good. The ambitions of the club will only really be achieved if the football community work together, and if the local community really gets behind it, and we can only do that if we talk positively about what we're doing and how we're trying to do it, and that's everyone involved, but also all the supporters around us, and hopefully that can happen. And the cherry on top is a team that is winning games on a regular basis, but only one team can win the league, and only one team can get promoted. So there's going to be 22 other teams that are very disappointed come the end of the season. So that's normal in football, and it's how we go about creating that positive environment to make sure that we can keep pushing on week after week after week over years and seasons and seasons. Is that's the gold dust really. So we're going to do our bit to try and make that happen, and I really ask all the supporters and everyone in our community and all our sponsors to do their bit as well, and if we can all come together and do that, then we're not just going to have a good season, but there's going to be a really long, great future for this football club that can add serious value to our community.
All right, Paul, cheers for your time, and we'll catch up with you before some of the friendlies.
Cheers, mate.